Draymond said that in the 2017-2018 NBA Finals, when the Warriors beat the Cavs handily in 5 and then in a sweep, that Kevin Durant was great, but if you're trying to pick apart the legacy of Steph Curry, don't use that because he was an NBA Finals MVP and KD was. He said Steph Curry was double-teamed 7 times as often as Steph Curry was. Than Kevin Durant was. Durant responded to this, as Durant usually does via social media, and said, I 100% disagree with this.
Google, Yahoo, Facebook, Twitter.
Now, people have gone back, studied the film, and yes, Steph Curry was double-teamed far more than Kevin Durant. But I think what happens here is that is 7 times as much accurate? Probably not. Probably hard to double-team one player 7 times as much as Kevin Durant when Durant is killing you. But that this is really not about the double team. Dre and KD were the ones that got into the fight the final year at Golden State. And that fight led to, middle of the season, Kevin Durant knowing he was not coming back to Golden State. And so this is clearly about 2 guys that are at odds that really didn't make complete peace, and it's bubbling up in other ways. And I think at the end of the day for Kevin Durant, this is what I've heard. I've never had a chance to speak with him. We have not had a chance to have him on the show. But what I've heard from people who have been around him, know him, even dating back to his Oklahoma City days, really, really good guy. Really thoughtful, really honest, really cares about people around him, and really cares about what people think about him. But that he is genuinely a nice guy. And that what happens is, even though he's such a nice guy, his rabbit ears keep digging him holes. And that he's kind of a head case sometimes about it. Throws him off. And I think what happened at Golden State was Durant cared about winning so much, because he didn't have that ring yet. All that crushing pressure on him in Oklahoma City. Didn't want that pressure anymore. Didn't want the he can't win. So saw an easy way to gravy train some rings. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. We're going to win everything. Get these rings, confetti coming down. And he did. And he realized people still hate me. Because it was too easy. Sucked the joy out of the league. And so he became somber. He became insulated. He became in his own little world. He's fighting everybody on social media, constantly defending his decision. And it put him at odds with the team that were singularly focused on just winning. And who played with great joy and chemistry and teamwork in 15 and 16 before he got there. So I think there was a building resentment within those walls about Kevin Durant being Eeyore, moping all around. Durant was hypersensitive about the criticism he always got, and they couldn't coexist. And so KD had to leave. Honestly, thank goodness he did. Because if Kevin Durant still was in Golden State and realized he could coexist there, found a way to do so, they wouldn't have lost a championship yet. I mean, maybe because he got injured in 2019 against the Raptors, but for all of the years they would have been healthy together, and Clay was out, but they were unstoppable. They'd still be winning titles. Kevin Durant is actually one of the saddest stories in sports because he's obviously great. In those years, he was lethal. But He hates that the media doesn't respect him. He hates that fans don't give him his credit. And he even hates that his former teammates do. He bristles at Shaq, Barkley, bristles at the media, bristles at the trolls, and now even his own teammates that he won championships with, he's at odds with. There's never been a great player as unhappy as he is, as unfulfilled, despite a great career. There's never been a superstar, a legend, who has felt so dismissed and disregarded. I think it's mostly his own fault, but I feel bad for him. Imagine being that successful and being that tortured. Everybody that he cares about, everybody that he cares respects him, doesn't. He cares too much about the media, too much about the trolls on social, and now too much about guys that he used to play with. He can't win anywhere. Whereas imagine Kevin Durant was still on the Warriors.
Well, I think that they probably still would have competed for a title last year. Now they would definitely beat the Celtics this year.
You'd have to take 2020 out of it because both Clay and Kevin Durant were both injured the whole year.
Exactly. So that's why you erased that. But last year when KD came back healthy, I mean, think about how he almost willed the Nets past the Bucks while Harden was on one leg and no Kyrie happened. You're putting him with a healthy Curry last year?
And what about this year? Would there be any chance for the Celtics to win?
No. And in fact, the Warriors would have been the 1 seed, not the Suns, in all likelihood. And probably would have coasted. Probably would have made the NBA playoffs even less entertaining than they've already been.
So let's say that with Kevin Durant, they went 2-1, and then they would have not made the finals in 2020. Let's say they win the championship last year, 3-1. They'd be going for their fourth championship with Kevin Durant.
Right. Now, I mean, again, if they play extra rounds last year, this year, does that add up? Who knows?
But who in the West would have beat them this year? Nobody.
Yet, there's a chance we look at the greatest dynasty in terms of like championship when all was said and done, because Curry and Durant wouldn't have been done after this year either. They could have won more than 6.
Remember when they won their first in 2015. Then they got Durant after the 73-win season. And Van Gundy was asked, how many do you think they can win? And he said, the next 8 or 10. And that seemed insane.
It's not insane.
Had they kept Kevin Durant, they'd be going for their, 6th title.
Yeah.
In 8 or 6th title in 9 years, basically.
Right. And don't mistake the Nets getting swept this year as some kind of indictment on Durant. Durant, when he was healthy this year, might have been the best player in basketball.
Thank goodness he left.
You're right. Give us some parity.